I think he's filming.
Is he? Oh, it's just the way we are. Twins. There is such a radical difference between writing something onto the page and then sitting with actors and it becomes a living thing that you have to think on your feet. I had to write an assignment for my undergraduate degree, which you might imagine was centuries ago, but actually it was only in 2016. And I was looking around for ideas, and I kept looking at the bridge, the Royal Border Bridge. You take those kind of great edifices for granted, but what human stories sort of lay behind them?
I think it was before lockdown or on the cusp of lockdown. We were walking, as was our wont, and she asked me if it had mileage. So I read it and said it absolutely has mileage, but it was very short.
And I knew I wanted it to be longer, and I always wanted it to be longer. I knew I wanted it to have music. I got captured by this story. I got captured by the research, to be honest with you. I mean, I did masses of research. I spent ages in the wonderful Berwick archives with Linda Bankier, who was superb. Everyone thinks of Stevenson, but this guy, George Barclay Bruce, the resident site engineer, he just really caught my imagination. He was very young. He moved to Berwick with his wife and his young family, and he had to live here throughout the sort of the whole of the construction of it. And I wondered what it was like to try and integrate and to be part of the town. It was his story, and out of his story, I think everything else came. So in a sense, I was just thinking about the story.
What I really like, and it's almost happened by default, is that people are having to take on different roles within the play, and I actually think that's a really exciting part of it, that you've got quick changes of character happening, and the parts are so small that if someone was to come in to take that part, it wouldn't be enjoyable for them. But because you're Tom 1 minute and then Dick the next and then Harry the next, the people in the play have a lot to concentrate on and enjoy acting out.
And strangely enough, that is sort of what I envisaged when I first wrote the play, because I wrote it as effectively a four-hander, with those four playing all of the roles that I had written already. But everybody, I think, plays a dual role within that, and some of them 3, and maybe even 4, which is challenging, but good fun.
It's my favourite thing, that it's all about choreography. It's about how you move these people around the space and use the space to the best, and I really enjoy that part of directing.
When I first started thinking about Cheryl, I just knew that Cheryl could bring a lot of life to it. I'd worked with Cheryl before. We did Cheshire Cats, and gosh, years ago we were in Calendar Girls together, do you remember? But I just knew that Cheryl would sort of see the words but be able to bring movement to them and energy, and that's exactly what you're doing.
And there's also a bit of a knife edge with all this, because the play has never been performed before. There are hiccups constantly. I mean, Jackie's written it beautifully, but sometimes you don't know how it's going to play out, and what we're finding in rehearsals, and I think it's really refreshing, is that I'll look and think, well, that's just not going to work. How? And then we get our brains together and think, right, how are we going to do this? When you buy a script, generally it's been worked through so many times that all that has gone by the way.
I think the cast is amazing. I mean, they are amazing. They have and are resilient, adaptable, and they've just kind of, oh yeah, I'm going to play this character as well. Okay, I'm going to go. And it's just fabulous to see all of that happening, isn't it?
And you know the words we talked about last week? Well, here's the new version. The play is on Wednesday the 22nd, Thursday the 23rd and Friday the 24th of February at 7 o'clock in the Henry Travers studio at the Maltings. You should come because we have fantastic musicians. We've got really talented actors. We've got a brilliant play. We've got fantastic singing, and it's a great show to watch.
Go see it. Come see it.